Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gretchen Winters, Director of Marketing with Bursch Travel, and welcome to our second session of Travel in 2020. We're going to talk about insurance today. I know, boring, but we're going to make it as exciting as we can. I have with me today Krisha Freedy, who's the manager of our Monticello office. And, it's a big topic, and with everything going on, we kind of wanted to just give a quick overview about travel insurance and what might be involved. Is it as simple as just looking at a trip and saying, yep, I want insurance, or what are our different options, Krisha?
Well, hi, Gretchen. No, there really isn't one single coverage that per se fits all. It does really vary depending upon what your trip entails. If you're doing just flight only, or a package where it's air and hotel and everything, or a cruise, we really need to dissect and go into what your trip entails to make sure that we have the best coverage and the coverage that's going to fit what you are looking for.
So are there different options? Like if, let's say I have a bad hair day and I just don't think I could go on the plane because I don't want to frighten everybody. Or I may have some concerns about, the pandemic or how that's kind of fluid and up and down. Do I have options to just say, I want to cancel my trip and get my money back? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so again, definitely different levels. And one of them is more like a waiver, I like to call it. It doesn't really give you a whole lot of necessary insurance coverage for while you're on your vacation, but it does allow you to cancel for any reason before you go on your vacation. So if you've had that bad hair day, you can go ahead and get away with, you know what, call me up and say, you know what, it's just, I don't feel like going on this trip. I'd like to go ahead and cancel. And with that waiver, you have options. You have the option of either canceling and getting your money back in full, less the cost of the insurance, or they offer maybe sometimes a voucher instead so that you can just further delay this trip maybe a year out or whatever you need to do. So it does have options, but it's definitely more of, I like to call it a waiver versus insurance, because it's just allowing you to cancel before you go on your trip.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That gives me some confidence, again, with what's happening that, maybe if things should change, that I have some protection of my investment. But now let me ask you this. What if I'm planning, and this wouldn't be me, but, I'm going to do the Inca Trail and hike, for 4 days. It's not going to happen. But if I was, and I had some concerns with, if I should get injured or, become ill or whatever, is there some options for some kind of medical coverage also? What would that involve?
Yes, definitely. We do work with Allianz Travel Insurance, and they have some great medical coverage out there that is going to be more for that broader coverage of medical, lost luggage, travel delay. So, for example, if you are flying from, here to South America and you get stuck in Atlanta and your flight is canceled for your next leg, so you're going to be able to have an overnight hotel stay, food, all of that kind of stuff. So definitely more of a broad coverage, and it's going to cover that medical coverage as well. So, if you do fall down and break your leg and you need to get back here and do some medical coverage, that's going to be all included. So there are definitely different types of insurances out there for you.
And if I was, let's say in a situation like that, if I was traveling with my family members and something happened to myself, or let's say I was traveling with another couple, how would that coverage, my coverage, help them if I had some situation where, I had to be hospitalized or, that sort of thing? How does that work?
So in a situation like that, if you were traveling with your family, more than likely you have your entire family covered. So for example, mom, dad, and the two kids traveling together, and you have that medical coverage. You basically, what's nice about that is that you're going to pay for two adults, and then the kids usually get to go for free on that medical coverage. So that's a real nice feature and factor to that. So they will also be covered as well. If you are per se traveling with another couple, then that's where you would have to have two separate medical coverages. So one for you guys and one for them. However, if you are their travel partner in that situation and you all have the insurance, then they can also, for example, if you need to stay longer, they need to stay longer and, help you, whatever they need to do in that situation, they're going to be covered as well. So that's a real nice component to that.
Well, that's really, very peace of mind, again, when you're making this investment and you just know that you have that flexibility. Like
Right.
if you situation wise, like that, you're somewhere international and you become ill or you have a heart attack, and you don't have insurance, what kind of happens at that point?
That can get real sticky. And when you involve your own medical coverage and you're overseas, a lot of times you're having to upfront those bills before you get back to the US. A lot of times they'll tell you when you call your insurance company, yeah, you're covered. But when you get over internationally and start traveling like that, and you're in a hospital and they require payment upfront, there's nothing the insurance back here can do for you. Where your travel insurance with Allianz in that situation, that's where that would kick in and help you get that coverage that you need. For example, I had someone that was over in Paris at Christmas time with her family, and she ended up having a heart attack, and she ended up having to have a bypass surgery there. And she was there for 20 plus days, and the insurance was covering that for her. And it helped her get back to the United States and get back to Minneapolis. So, it really is scary if you're traveling overseas, especially, and if you don't have any coverage.
Wow, interesting. Now, how would that, I'm sure I know it sounds like there's a lot of options available and pricing and all of that. So it sounds like it really is kind of an individual thing based on where you're going, what type of travel you're doing, and how is it just like one price, or how does that work in terms of the coverage that you want to purchase?
Yeah, well, starting with the waivers, a lot of times some of these tour operators that we work with, they do have some set costs with waiver costs. Otherwise, sometimes it could be just based on the cost of your trip and your age. Yes, unfortunately, that does play a factor into it.
Uh-oh, that could be scary for me, but whatever. Let's talk about others. I guess that makes sense. So really what I'm hearing here is that there are a lot of options available, a lot of different scenarios, and it really looks like you want to involve the advice of a travel advisor, professional travel advisor, to kind of help you figure out what's best. But then what if I had questions about sort of individual questions or how to process something? Is that something that I would work with a travel advisor on, or how does that work with the?
So one thing we'll tell you first off is we are definitely not insurance agents. That's a whole nother ball game. But what we're here to do is definitely to guide you in the direction that you need coverage for, because I think each specific person really is looking for a specific coverage for their individual trip. So we can guide you into that. And then once we're there, if you have specific questions, that's where we can get you with that insurance company and you can ask those specific questions.
Okay, great. So kind of just go to those folks that understand the insurance, that work for the insurance company, get
Right.
in the question answered. Great.
Yep.
Well, I really feel this has been helpful. It is a complicated situation, and I think in this day and age, I know traveling, you really want to have that protection and that coverage and those options, not only, with the pandemic, the fluidity of that up and down and restrictions, but hurricanes, fires, all of those things. I really think it makes sense to, really get some good advice and get the coverage so that you have that peace of mind when you're traveling. So I really appreciate everything, Krisha. Thank you for your knowledge and, spending time with me today on this.
Sounds good.
Hey, and then next week, everyone, we're going to talk about Disney. I see Mickey back there, and we're going to talk about getting to Disney and having some family fun or just some fun at Disney. So please join us next Tuesday. Thanks again, guys. Talk to you later. Bye, Krisha.
Bye.